Hello and welcome back to Beardworks podcast, episode number 21. It is kicking on at the moment. We're very close to next gen, so that's what we're probably going to focus on in this episode. Nick, how you going, man?
Yeah, good. Yeah, just gearing up, as you said, for the next gen. I'm so hyped, man. I've been having dreams about the PS5.
Yeah, no, it's pretty wild. We're literally under a week away at the moment. It's come so quickly, it feels like. But I guess this year, the way things are gone, it's been a pretty dull year for a lot of people around the world, and this might be that little bright spark of hope, I guess, that they can see. Unfortunately, in saying that, there probably won't be a lot of people getting it because of the back order or the backlog of pre-orders at this stage.
Yeah, well, it was a shit show when we did it, as we've talked about in the podcast before. But my sister's boyfriend, he still hasn't even got a pre-order in because he just can't.
Damn, that's a real shame.
Yeah, and he's been a Sony fan for years.
Yeah, we'll get onto that shortly. But first off, let's just wrap up a little comic series we've been reading up about, which was Batman 3 Jokers. Issue number 3 came out recently. Nick, you got the physical copy. I read it online. What were your thoughts on the sort of conclusion to the 3-issue short mini-series, I guess?
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this series. I feel like maybe issue 3 was the weakest of all 3, but the last few pages were very good.
Yep.
Yeah, it was the shortest read, but yeah, I don't know. It did, as you said, it seemed a little bit rushed.
Yeah, I felt like towards the end of issue number 2, they sort of had to get to a certain point to then the issue number 3 could finish it up. But yeah, it's pretty crazy, really. I didn't mind the ending. They sort of try to set it up to see if it was going to be more than what it was. But I reckon it's pretty much stuff we already knew. I reckon the only surprise was at the very end with that Batman actually knows Joker's identity. And
yeah, because hasn't that been like a theme throughout like pretty well all of Batman's stories, that they're always trying to figure it out who he is?
Yeah, and the whole point of it was that I thought in this story was that Joker actually had a family, and that, you know, if he was exposed for his identity, then those people, his family, would be targeted his entire life. They wouldn't be safe from the press. They would be safe from other criminals, and they would not be safe from him. So that was a little snippet about who he was, but we didn't actually find out his name because in the issue number 2 we had the scene where the comedian was like sort of like lost his mind. He's sitting there eating with his family, and then you find out that the criminal's like, you know, the criminal version of Joker is just like, stop messing around, you know, pull it together. But yeah, that was actually realist. That was actually real. That's what happened, and that's sort of like that's his family that he lost.
So he was like having a fantasy about what he could have had.
Yeah,
but obviously he never actually got to experience his family.
Yeah, because he was obviously quite a dangerous man before becoming the Joker. So that's why I think
family and shit.
Yeah, the whole point is like she was pregnant and she wanted to leave him, and apparently some people that she knew got some money together and got her away from him, and then the police had said, oh, you know, there was an electrical fault or something, and yeah, she died. So maybe that's what tipped him. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think this is setting up for, like, I don't know, what's the next Batman series that's coming out? Because this surely is going to lead into it. A bit more Joker shit.
I have no idea at the moment.
Yeah, I'm reading older Batman stuff right now, the Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder ones, but yeah, this is definitely, it was a good mini series, but I feel like the ending was a bit generic.
It felt like they sort of built up that it was somebody that we may already know, like the criminal version of the Joker. He still seemed like just a mob kind of gangster, had his plans and stuff like that, and that's the whole reason that they kidnapped Joe Chill, who that was a little bit interesting with how he had written letters to Bruce Wayne but had never sent them because he didn't know how to finish it off, to apologize for what he did, because he realized that because of him, Gotham is sort of in a dark state right now because for killing the Waynes, who were always trying to improve and do what's best for the city. He just knocked out their ray of hope, and that's why Gotham sort of turned into like this, you know, this cesspool of crime and evil, I guess, which, you know, warrants the need of the Dark Knight, which is Batman. So that was always interesting, and I found that with Joe Chill getting kidnapped, then sort of felt like that they were building up that maybe the Joker, like the criminal version of the Joker, set it up. But well, that's what I felt the way I was reading it. But that wasn't the case. They just pretty much wanted to create a new Joker, and they thought that the Joe Chill would be the best version of the Joker if they turned him. So
too bad he was like 80 years old with cancer on his last legs.
Yeah, it didn't make much sense.
It was sad though, that one of those last panels where Bruce Wayne goes and like gets the letter from Joe Chill and like sort of holds his hand as he dies. Yeah,
yeah. I think that's what the whole that was another reason that the criminal version of the Joker, he eventually gets killed off. Not by any of the main characters. Well, a main character, but not the good guys. And his plan was obviously to create Joe Chill to create the best version of the Joker. So Batman saves him, and there's a bit of a fight scene between Batman, Batgirl, and Red Hood elsewhere, versing like people that had turned into like mini versions of the Joker, I guess. But then there's a bit of a showdown with The comedian version of the Joker is the one that shot Batgirl. And they have a bit of a showdown, and that was really interesting to see when Jason Todd gets shot in the back, or so Red Hood gets shot in the back, and then she attacks the Joker, the comedian version, the one that shot her, and smashes his face in with the camera that he used, in the is it the Killing Joke? Yeah,
it's the Killing Joke where she gets like paralyzed. Yeah,
so that was really cool because it was like a bit of a throwback. But then eventually, so there's a bit of a fight scene erupts. Batman saves Joe Chill. They get it. They fall out and escape. And then the criminal version of the Joker is little saying, like, that was our plan. We wanted to create the best Joker, and go to blow himself up as well as Batman, Joe Chill. And then he gets shot in the side of the head from the comedian Joker. And you're thinking, okay, what's going on here? And then you find out the full story is that the comedian actually set it all up because he wanted to be more to Batman than what he. But he wants to be everything, but then also nothing. That's what he sort of like explained it as.
Yeah, this was. I really liked in this issue, like all the little like old stories that the characters got closure on, like Batgirl fight and Red Hood, like all their old origin stories kind of like got wrapped up here.
Yeah,
it was really interesting,
and that's what I really enjoyed at the end. There is that, like Joker sort of wanted to fix Batman and let him heal, and you see that in that final panel.
Yeah,
and you see that
Joker's the best villain, dude.
Yeah. Well, if you think of all comic book character villains, like there's not many that meet up to his standards because everyone knows who the Joker is,
and he's got no powers.
Yeah, he's just a criminal.
He's just the most psycho.
But yeah, no, now that we're sort of reflecting on it, I do feel like it was actually a pretty good ending. Really, how it sort of just built Batman up to be stripped down because Batman himself obviously has his trauma from when he was younger, but the people he brings in later, like Barbara Gordon and Jason Todd and even the other Robins, no one gets out of this unscathed. So to see like those people get ripped down and see that the reason they got hurt was because Batman doesn't kill and doesn't kill the Joker, and all he does is he's hurt him and puts him back in Arkham or Blackgate, wherever. So that's sort of like the story is that Batman has failed multiple times, but he's failed in his own way, and it's caused injury to his friends and close loved ones. To see them stand alongside him in this final battle, and then to see him finally heal over the Joe Chill and his parents' incident, I think that's the whole idea is that the Joker wanted to create a stronger and more well-rounded Batman by letting him heal and becoming, now he doesn't have to work. That's off his conscience now.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a heap sick setup for whatever does come next. I think they're going to try to reinvent Batman a little bit because we've been getting the same kind of Batman for how many years now, since the bloody 60s. I think this is going to be a good turning point for Batman. We're going to get us like a bit more of a developed kind of character. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah.
No, it was. I now when I come think about it, I really did enjoy this small mini series of issues.
It's a great one shot.
So, but yeah, overall, just if you haven't read, obviously we've spoiled a lot for you, but go give it a read. The artistic designs are good, are stunning. Really,
this is some of the best art in Batman's had for years, man. It's unreal.
Just the facial expressions, and the grittiness.
How shredded Red Hood is.
Yeah, but even looking at some of the Batman panels, like he's got a bit of stubble and stuff like that. Like he's not like he's into that. He hasn't been coping for the last few days because of the Joker incident. So it's really good to see him like really going hardcore. And yeah, I like it. I reckon it was one of the better ones I've read recently. So, but yeah.
And Yeah, moving on subjects, a bit of a shift of gears from like comics to something we mainly talk about video games. Let's talk about our favourite games from this generation because it's about to finish. It's all over.
Yeah, well, we obviously, like I said, next gen next week, which is huge. Making the leap. Obviously, we're the lucky ones in that first launch day window. So, but yeah, let's talk about some of the games that we sort of enjoyed over the years. Now, we've played a lot of games over the last, because when did the Xbox One come out? That was like 2013
or something.
Yeah, long time ago. Either way, there's been a lot of games that come out, exclusives, and we've spoken about that towards the beginning of our podcast back around the first two or three episodes, maybe. Or might have been a little bit later than that. We talked about the PlayStation, Xbox exclusives, which one's better. But this one, we're just going to talk about our overall experience of games on both ends and even the third-party ones. So, yeah, Nick, why don't you kick us off with one of your favourite games of this generation?
I loved God of War. I've hyped on about it for so long. God of War, unreal. Like, that trailer for the newest one even got me hyped, just hearing Kratos' voice again. Yeah,
God of War is one of those, I guess we can talk about, like the way we're talking about it now, is that it's like a generation-defining game. Because God of War was amazing on the PlayStation, on the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2. It was one of those games where you could pick it up and it was just the kind of combat and the brutality of it was enjoyable and it was something different. And obviously with the Greek mythology behind it was always awesome because Greek mythology probably seems to be one of the best mythologies around the world. But yeah, I have to admit that's one of my favorite games as well. I think it's the most well-rounded game because like there's a lot of games that come out and don't seem completely polished, but it feels like with God of War, it's just a full-on, mythic tale from start to end, and it was just like there was no bumps in the road. It just felt like it was just all part of the same process. Like there was no other ideas that they sort of chucked in just to think they could change the game. They had like a roadmap and they followed it to a T.
It felt like the first experience for next gen. It felt like a next gen game when we were playing on our current gen. And I'm scared for how good the next one's going to be on the 5. It's going to be ridiculous. Yeah,
no, I'm pretty keen. I'm like I said, I'm keen for it. Like I said, back when we spoke about what games to be keen for the next gen, I'm still keen for the ones that are yet to be announced, or the ones that are like the first line of games in that IP or something like that. So, but yeah, moving on from that, I should say, this is the thing. I didn't finish the game, but I did enjoy it, which was Red Dead Redemption 2. Wasn't as good as number 1, but I definitely feel that the Rockstar games, obviously with GTA 5 coming out on every console for so long now, since the 360, Red Dead Redemption 2 was the first, their first game for the next gen, which will current gen now. And I thought that Red Dead Redemption 2 was a good game overall. But it just felt like there was, if you compared number 1 and number 2 felt a bit more scattered and there wasn't such a linear story. So it was quite hard to settle in on it. I have to admit that.
It was too needy, man.
Yeah.
Too needy. Some shit you had to do in that game. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, no. I don't know. I guess I haven't finished it yet. I want to go back and finish it. So really keen on that. But let's talk about another game that you really liked, Resident Evil 7. That was a good generational game.
Oh yeah, it was a shift of gears for the Resi series, just from going from like a thriller kind of shooter puzzle game to like a full-on horror experience. And I think it was a step in the right direction. And Resident Evil Village looks like it's like taking the best of both worlds.
Yeah, cut from the same cloth.
Yeah,
well, that's the thing.
So you're getting the horror and the puzzles.
Resident Evil 5 and 6 were on the 360, and I didn't mind them, but they were different type of games. When they felt like it definitely feels like as the games have gone on, they've sort of like narrowed their vision to see and have a good experience rather than having like multiple different pathways that can vary. I think developers want to create that really nice story that looks good and is easily playable because you want to see what happens next rather than have that jumping around story like they had in 6. So, well, obviously they still did have a jump around story bit in 7, but it progressed with the story, not so much more like different characters, I guess.
Yeah, I really liked 5, the one in Africa.
Yeah.
With what's his name, Chris Redfield and I don't know what the black chick's called. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that one too. That was
good. Very hard though. I'm still having nightmares about Wesker.
Yeah. Another game that was probably pretty big and still is big on the scene is Rocket League. It's
yeah, that's just gone free, hasn't it, on the next gen?
Yeah, and I mean, did you play much of Rocket League when it first came out?
Not when it first came out. I jumped in later when it was on special. I really, really liked it. I was just that shit at it that I could never get like fully into it because I never really had a good team either. I just had some fun by myself. But no, it's a cool game. Very cool.
Yeah, Rocket League when it first came out, I remember my mate and I downloaded it pretty early on. I think when it was free to download before it went on for purchase to buy the actual currency. I'm not sure how much it was. But anyways, yeah, we played it first, and like it was when the game first came out, so everyone was very fresh to it. So we played it and we really, really enjoyed it. I feel like that's like how most games go with me at the moment, where you play them when they first come out and you're half decent and you get the wins early, but then as the game goes on, people just grind the crap out of it and they like all of a sudden are 10 times better than you like 2 months into the game.
Look at Warzone, for example. We can't even get a win anymore.
Yeah, we'll get to Warzone shortly, but yeah, Rocket League, I really enjoyed that. I just wasn't a massive acrobatic kind of player, and now you just watch people in the Pro League and they're just like floating through the air, and yeah, I can't control like that. So, but Rocket League was definitely one of those games that was a generational game, and I think because it's an esport, I think it's an esport game.
Yeah, there is esports.
Yeah.
I actually saw a competition. It was on Foxtel.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure ESPN or
actually, I think you're right.
I watched
yeah.
Rocket League on Foxtel. Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah, I saw something when I was at work the other day. It was on the early hours of the morning. But Rocket League, yeah, one of those games where it took off, and it's a fun competitive game, and it's not a stressful game on your system or your console. And the graphics look bright and vibrant because it doesn't need too much into it. So, anyways, moving on.
One other game that I reckon is probably maybe my favorite of the generation. We can't talk about it for too long because I'll just rant because I've ranted before. Bloodborne.
Yeah. We've spoken about this plenty of times, and it's because I think Bloodborne is the Demon Souls, like not so much Demon Souls, but the Soulsborne, one of the mythics of that came out of those generations. But I think what makes Bloodborne is its narrative, like the story behind it and the world that it creates around it, is so much more interesting than I find than not Demon Souls, but Dark Souls and other ones along that genre.
Yeah, From Software is always very vague and like mystical about their stories and how the like narratives delivered to you, like through item descriptions and NPCs dialogue, because there's no actually like cutscenes really. But Bloodborne, I felt like in the Hunter's Dream, like talking to the doll and talking to what's the dude's name? The old hunter guy.
I can't remember. Unfortunately.
But talking to everyone, they kind of like feed you bits throughout, and you learn about the nightmare. You learn about like, is this happening? Is this not? It's very interesting, the story, and it is one of the better ones from Software.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. Couldn't get my words out then because I was so excited to talk
about
it.
A couple months ago a $350 Bloodborne figurine. It's sitting next to me. That's how much I love it.
No, Bloodborne was like, I mean, I don't play a lot of those games, like the Dark Souls games. I know you finished most of them.
Yeah.
But Bloodborne was different for me. I really enjoyed it. I like how they built it up. And I think we've always spoken about it. A live action show or an anime would be really cool of Bloodborne because I think they could really do it because the trick weapons are so cool.
Yeah, I was just about to say, imagine in an anime by a good studio, the stuff they could do with trick weapons, making up their own.
Yeah, 100%. It would look awesome.
That would be wild.
But yeah, I mean, we're hoping in Bloodborne 2 sometime in the next 24 months. That'd be freaking amazing.
The next two, we've got Demon Souls on release day of PS5 and then Elden Ring.
Yeah.
That's the one that From Software's making with George R. R. Martin.
But do you reckon that will be like a similar kind of like difficulty or be a bit more let off so then people can really, because they're sort of like putting it out there as it's not going to be like a Soulsborne game.
I don't know. Anyway. I want From Software to stay true to their roots. Yeah. They do difficulty very well. It's like the argument with Neo. It's the same formula, but it's just implemented poorly.
Yeah, true.
Like From Software, they nail it. And we'll talk about our pre-orders for next gen in a minute.
Yeah.
Speaking of that type of game. But yeah, what else?
Well, the one game that stood out for me this generation that I always go back to and a lot of people love and say like it's like a benchmark of open world games, which is The Witcher 3. Wild Hunt.
100%.
This game is one of the best games I've ever played. That I've finished. DLC was amazing. Like it was just an all around great experience. And it's because I never played the original Witcher. I just didn't have a PC back then or an Xbox. I'm not sure. I think was it on PlayStation? I don't think
I'm pretty sure Witcher 2, Assassin of Kings, was on consoles, but I don't know about the.
Yeah, so I played Assassins of Kings, like Witcher 2, on Xbox, and I really enjoyed that. I felt like the world was really interesting, like the whole monster hunter kind of thing, and sort of like what Geralt was and what they built him up to be. And then when the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was released, I was just all over that, and I absolutely loved it and enjoyed it. The game was just so interesting, and there's so much stuff to do. And I didn't mind the timed events, which I miss a few of them. So I'd like to go back one day and play it. But yeah, from top to bottom, the characterizations, the skill trees, the talking, the dialogue trees were so awesome as well. It was an all round great experience. I can't really say too much, but I can't say anything bad about The Witcher 3 really.
Well, me and you love it so much. We've both finished the Witcher series on Netflix, waiting for season 2, and we've both bought the first book.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, it's can't get enough of the world. So
I'm really keen to see what. This is one thing that we sort of touched on last week, is about the delays of some games, specifically next gen. So the people who created The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, CD Projekt Red, they have said that The Witcher 3 was a warm up to Cyberpunk, which blows my mind.
It makes me sick.
I'm wondering what kind of madness they're going to be doing. The thing is, and that's what has been delayed. So it was meant to come out the 19th of November. So it was going to be like just after the launch window of the consoles, which would have been, perfect. But they pushed it back by 21 days to the 10th, I think, of December, which a lot of people were upset, and there was like some apparently like death threats sent to them, which might have been exaggerated, but that's still not good enough. Because
I saw an article that their stocks dropped by 25% after that latest delay.
Yeah, but I think they have that much confidence in the game when it comes out that it's going to be unbelievably good. If they say if they know their own games well enough, if they're saying The Witcher Hunt was just a warm up, then this game has to be something else, like something beyond what we can imagine. In saying that, yes, there are a lot of people that have sort of jumped off the bandwagon now because of the delay, but I also feel there's a couple of reasons. I think is that the game was coming out around the launch window of the consoles, and other games that wouldn't get as much hype around, I guess, and it could stagger its sales a bit. And two, I believe that the problem they're having is something to do with current gen consoles, because it's they've built it over a couple of 2 generations. So like obviously the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, and then with the next gen coming out, they wanted to make it the best looking game and have it all ready to go. I think the problems that they're having is that they've built it so well for current next gen, and PC, that they're struggling to get the optimal thing out of current gen, and so that's what they're working on at the moment.
Fuck current gen.
But either way, yeah. That's obviously a bit sad that they had to delay it. But in saying that, if it just betters the game and makes the all-round experience better, then I'm happy to wait an extra 20 days, I think. Because we got Valhalla coming out the 10th of November. Obviously, Watch Dogs Legion's out now, which I've been playing at the moment, which I'm enjoying. So, yeah, there's games out now that you can play. And then you've got, obviously, the launch window games, which we'll talk about in a moment. But, yeah, if we wrap that back around to The Witcher 3, one of the best games of any generation, pretty much. Just a generation-defining game, pretty much. Sort of like God of War.
They say that it was a warm-up for Cyberpunk with The Witcher 3. I love sci-fi, but for video games, I feel like I like medieval fantasy more.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. I think that futuristic stuff hasn't been done all that great in video games. I'm trying to think of any games that sort of piqued my interest. I remember playing Remember Me. It was an old 360 game. That was like a level. I can't really explain. It's like level to level design sort of thing, combat kind of shooter thing, and that was interesting. That was sort of a future concept, but that was nothing too special either. So
I really liked Jedi Fallen Order. That was a sci-fi. That was good, but it was pretty basic.
Yeah.
We liked Halo back in the day, but like I feel like medieval games always get done a little bit better. Like the 3 of our favorite ones we've just said have all been medieval: God of War, Witcher, and Bloodborne.
Yeah, very true. I think they just hit the nail on the head there, where they're just so used to creating those games and building that world, because it's not something that. Because when we think about it, it's in the past. Like medieval games are in the past, so they can sort of do what they like because we've never lived that kind of life. We're sort of getting towards it. We're not really in the futuristic world right now, but some things can be sort of far-fetched, if you know what I mean, with futuristic stuff. So for them to get it right, it's real like a small narrow window. And yeah, I think maybe going first person in Cyberpunk is a very interesting thing, because The Witcher 3 looks so gorgeous in third person. I think they're just trying to hit the nail on the head and make that first person experience, which can sometimes take you away from it because you haven't got that peripheral vision in combat. But I'm guessing it's just going to be a real top tier game. I'm just hoping that it's everything they're saying, because I trust them. They're a good company to create video games. So
yeah, I'm really excited for Cyberpunk and that, but I feel like I would have liked the opportunity or the feature to switch between third and first person, because apparently they're advertising the best customization of characters ever. Oh, great. I'm only going to see his wrist and hand. Yeah,
I guess when you see him in the mirror, and there must be cutscenes and stuff like that. But either way, super keen for that. We need to move on from but those are some of the best games that we played. There obviously are plenty more that we could talk about, but these are the ones that we thought that stood out for us. So let's move on to our next gen pre-orders. Nick, let's talk about what you're going to be getting day one. Let us know what it is.
I know I said I was still having PTSD from Sekiro, but it's Demon Souls.
You've done it.
Full demon, yep.
That's classic. I mean, you did say that you were having PTSD, but you're obviously keen. I mean, I'm keen on it as well. Watching some of the gameplay, it looks absolutely stunning. The game, the visuals on it. But between the visuals and getting murdered by a certain type of boss every few hours, yeah, I have to admit I'm pretty keen on that as well. But like I said, I'm probably going to miss the launch window. I might pick it up maybe in December or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to get Godfall, but it's just Destiny with sword. I can't do it to myself.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this off air, that I reckon I'll give it a crack, play it for maybe the first week and see how it goes. And if it's nothing that really sticks, like throw it at the wall. And if it doesn't stick, I'll probably just return it and get my money back, and then maybe look at getting Demon Souls. Because unfortunately, the launch window of video games has dropped a fair bit. I did say I want to get Miles Morales, so I could always swap over to that if I wanted to. But Miles Morales is still not a full experience as what Spider-Man was on the PS4, which you mentioned when it first came out, when they first released the gameplay. But I still like the look of it, in saying that.
I've been doing a lot of research on Demon Souls, because I was a bit nervous about going into one of these hard games again to start the generation. But what I've been reading is, wait, another thing. Did you realise that Blue Point, the ones making Demon Souls remake, are the same people that did Shadow of the Colossus?
Oh, really? That's why it probably looks so good.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus looked real nice on the remaster.
Yeah, that was wild.
But
yeah. What
was the other thing you were going to say?
Yeah, I've just literally had a mental blank. I was reading my screen and I was Googling the difficulty and stuff of Demon Souls.
Yeah.
And it was actually pretty interesting. They said the mobs are harder in Demon Souls than the bosses. Apparently the bosses are a lot of tricks, and there's something you can always exploit. But sometimes you'll run into a room and they'll be just here's 30 wolves.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm keen to see what it's like.
Yeah, definitely. We spoke about maybe putting something up on YouTube of us struggling to survive in it, but we'll wait and see, I guess. We're always planning more content on all fronts, so that could be possibly something we want to do. And Demon Souls, I think, is a good shout, because it could be pretty stressful, I think, and a bit of rage moments kicking in. Sort of like what we're having problems with Warzone at the moment, so people are getting too good at Warzone.
I just feel like the first week we probably got 10 wins, and then we haven't got none since.
Yeah, Warzone's one of those games. Well, we can actually speak about Warzone a little bit now quickly, because obviously with Cold War coming out in the next week or so as well, they're moving across things. They're not changing engines, so that Warzone's staying the same, but integrating. Geez, that's how you say it. They're moving across some of the guns, I think, and sounds. I think that was, but yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Warzone. But we have a mate that's actually really kicking off in Warzone at the moment.
Oh yeah, he's won a few tournaments and shit, getting a bit of cash.
So yeah, let's give you a backstory. Our mate he's been living over in a really lockdown quarantine area part of Australia, and so he can't actually do much. He couldn't come back home to where we live, back in our state. So he's been locked down over there, doing work and also playing video games in his spare time. And he's sat down and he's grinded away playing Call of Duty Warzone, and he's at a point now where he's getting invited to tournaments and winning money, which is, congratulations, man. That's bloody awesome.
Yeah, I wish I was bloody getting money to play games.
Yeah, but then I keep thinking to myself, if I could sit down and grind away at a game, I could probably get half decent at it too. Obviously, our friend has a very addictive personality and loves his when he gets stuck into something, he loves playing the crap out of it. So, obviously good on him for what he's doing. And yeah, just hope he keeps powering on. Maybe he becomes famous one day. That'd be nice.
What's your pre-order for next year?
Oh, that's right. So obviously Godfall, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. I think we talked about what we're going to play, and obviously you said your bit about it's not what you thought it would be. Like I said, I'm pretty keen to see what it does. From the get-go, I've liked the idea of it. But yeah, I'm still a bit skeptical about it because, like I said, there's no real game that's really jumping out at me to play straight off the bat. It was Spider-Man, but then I saw more gameplay and it's more of the same. Demon's Souls is one of those games I'd like to go back, would like to play. But I might give it maybe a month or two before I go into that, because I'm still playing Legion, which I'm really enjoying at the moment, like Watch Dogs. And if Valhalla comes out, I might be able to juggle between the two. So, yeah.
I just reckon Demon's Souls has the best graphics of anything they've showed us.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah. That's true.
Like even Cyberpunk, I don't know, Demon's Souls looks unreal.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between, like, which we've already spoken about, how the first person and third person aspects. Third person, you can create so much more detail around the world. First person, you can, but it's still like narrow visioned. So that's the difference. But yeah, super keen for everything anyways. But I think that's about it, really. We've probably blubbered on a little bit now, so I think we should wrap it up while we're here. Any final words, I guess?
Nah, just super, super hyped for next gen. Are we taking a break after this episode?
No, we'll go a little bit longer yet. Yep. So we've got a few more episodes and then we're going to call it for the year.
Yeah, just a warning for everyone listening, there will be a break over the Christmas period.
Yeah, we're getting to the point now where we want to take a bit of time off and work on some things before we launch in 2021. So, but we'll give you guys all the information leading up to this little hiatus that we have. But yeah, obviously next week's episode, we're probably going to be talking about next gen, our first experience, which is going to be bloody awesome. Cannot wait.
Yeah, don't know how long that episode is going to be, depending on getting the console and bloody playing
updates
stuff. Yeah. Might be a short one next week, but it'll be about next gen. Keep an eye out.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Just do the usual. Follow us on our socials. Just keep tuning in. Every little listen and view helps us. We're enjoying what we're doing. So anyways, enjoy the rest of your day or night, whatever you're deciding to do at the moment, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out.